you're a part of it now.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Hey. Okay. I think we're ready to go.
Okay.
Okay, so we just saw Furious 7, and the title card was Furious spelled out with the word 7 spelled out. So we'll see if that sticks, because the Fast and the Furious 6 was retitled to the Fast and Furious 6 after being already called Furious 6.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is now Furious 7, and 6 is the Fast and the Furious 6. And this is good. This is so honestly, like, first, we just got back from the theater. And honestly, the first impression is that this is like pretty. Now this is interesting because this is gonna be the first podcast because that
where neither of us have seen the movie before.
Yeah. Going into most of these, like, I'm having seen all of them like multiple times, and then Wes is like seen them once or twice before the recording of the podcast. But you always are the one that with the fresh impression. This one I still need to sink in. I totally enjoyed my time. I think that it didn't let me down. But I kind of wished it would have held up more momentum overall. Fast 5 is just this gem of pacing.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I felt the same way, that the pacing was odd. I sort of had a feeling like some of the faster pacing, some of the parts where it was paced faster was a little too fast,
and not a furious, too fast and too furious. It was a little.
It wasn't furious enough. It wasn't furious enough.
Okay.
It was too fast, but not too furious.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, here's the thing is.
Well, if it was too fast, too furious, then it would have been really terrible.
Yeah.
Because that movie sucks.
But the I don't know, the thing I felt was where they had the more emotional parts, I feel like they didn't leave quite enough time for it to
There were
breathe.
some. Oh, yeah, but you know what? Those were my favorite parts of the fucking movie. I don't know why, but I mean, I love the action sequences. Those were amazing, and that's really also my favorite parts. They definitely had some great set piece action sequences that saved the film. Like, I mean, that's the whole reason you come to the show, right? Like, they get it. At this point, they understand what the series is. They figured out that the more dumber and cliche action they make it, and just over the top with action sequences they make it, the better it is. And the more people, that's exactly what people are paying for. We just want to see this dumb story get dumber and dumber, and over the top.
And the funny thing about it now is it's almost gotten to the point where it should just bleed into the Expendables series.
Yeah, well, it's going to. They keep adding characters. Like, they've already added one cast member from the Expendables.
Yeah.
Like, they keep adding cast members. I was so blown away by, and this is spoiler alert, so you're going to learn everything right here if you listen to this before you see the movie.
If you haven't seen the movie yet and you really want to see it, then watch it.
Yeah, the trailer implied that Jason Statham is the main bad guy, which he is, actually. That's actually true. But there are two actors that they didn't even hint at in the trailer. And one of them was Kurt fucking Russell.
Yeah.
Who is the new like M to their like James Bond. Like he's the guy given okay, here's the thing about this series. This time, these guys are fucking government agents. Like, they're not even like, every time they're like more than they were before.
Yeah.
Like the first time they're just street racing thugs. For the first three movies, it's just about street racing pretty much. In the third movie, it gets a little bit into a mob story. The fourth movie, they start dealing with drug dealers. The fifth movie, they start dealing with their evil twin. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yes,
it's drug dealers. The fourth movie. It's actually also drug dealers. The fifth movie, but it's a more high higher class drug dealer that runs a whole city. Like he's not really a drug dealer. He's like kind of just a overall crime lord guy.
Yeah.
That runs the entire what is that city that they're in?
Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah. So that's the bad guy in the fifth movie. And, you know, by the fifth movie, they're pretty much able to do everything. Like, it seems like somehow Dom and all these people are able to, like, fist fight, like, street fight really good against military guys. Because, you know, Dom totally gives it to The Rock, you know, in the badass fight scene. And, you know, and that doesn't make sense at all at that point because you think of Dom as just a regular guy, not someone with military training. You know?
But I don't know. You could
assume that he could put up a fight because he's just a big buff guy.
Yeah, or you could assume that in between each movie, during their downtime, they're just doing nothing but learning martial arts.
And
doing training like that.
So then in the sixth movie,
I mean, that's the only thing you can assume.
Yeah,
because they just keep getting better.
Yeah, exactly. They keep doing more, especially in this film. In this film, they can really do it all. Like I love that. Like a huge portion of this film, I love how they establish rivals for all of the characters. Like in Fast 6, it was well, not all of the characters, but there's rivals. Like there's a rivalry that happens in Fast 6 between Letty and the government girl, like that
female cop.
The female cop, who, like, there's a rivalry between them. In this one, the ongoing rivalry that's prevalent is Paul Walker and Tony Jaa. And Paul Walker totally holds his own against this martial arts expert, like Tony Jaa from the Protector and from Ong Bak, that guy.
Yeah,
like,
it's sort of
that's another big, like, surprise that wasn't in the trailer at all, that Tony Jaa is going to be in this fucking movie.
That's sort of like a side rivalry going on because he's basically there to fight
Paul Walker
because he has maybe 2 lines in the whole movie,
but he's there specifically to fight Paul Walker. Like in all the scenes that he's fighting Paul Walker.
Yeah, that's true. And Paul Walker starts pulling off, you know, some Muay Thai moves and stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. Paul Walker totally bests him. It's great. It's like, okay, so now Paul Walker, this ex-cop, he's an undercover cop.
He's an
ex-FBI agent.
He's now an ex-FBI agent.
Right.
Yes.
But, I mean, all of a sudden now he's got, like, he's behaving like he's a Navy SEAL. Like, he's totally got all these fucking moves. He's running with the gun and the vest and stuff. And he's like, it's just, man. It's like, man, okay, all of a sudden. And they were doing that in Fast 5 a little bit where they were saving him in the street battle, you know, all of a sudden. But it's... So yeah, the sixth movie, they're like,
but here's
like
the thing,
they're fighting these guys. These guys are that are the evil twins of themselves that actually are like ex-Navy SEALs, or you know, and that's the sixth movie story. This one, it's totally like over the top, like James Bond Black Ops type stuff, like where it's like all of a sudden the series is now Mission Impossible, which is awesome. That's great.
They pretty much just decided. Oh, you remember Shaw from the sixth movie? He's like this badass ex-Navy SEAL. He's this super badass ex-Navy SEAL, and he's like the best in the world.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he has an older brother, and he's actually better than him.
Yeah, and when we say Navy SEAL, we just mean badass soldier because he's not actually a Navy
British
SEAL.
Special Ops, whatever.
He's a British Navy SEAL.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Just like the elite military training, whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, this movie's got some major moments and really good stuff. I don't think we got to go plot point by plot point, but we should figure out like what we're going to talk about maybe. And like, but also it does have pacing issues. Anyway, what you were going to say?
Yeah. I don't know. I was going to say is, the bad guy was Jason Statham.
Yeah, the bad guy was Jason Statham. But I was actually halfway expecting the bad guy to be the guy that's giving them the mission to begin with. Okay, so Jason Statham's a total badass that they can't compete with, and they get saved by a government agent Black Ops guy who's you don't really know who he is. He like has no agency or anything. He's some like super secret agency guy. He's
like the agency in 24.
Yeah, exactly. And this guy is played by Kurt Russell, who comes in and saves Dom at the right before Dom is going to get killed. by this Jason Statham guy, and offers him a deal. Says, if you help me get this super powered device that can be used as a weapon if it falls into the wrong hands, we will help you get this guy that's after you. Because I guess he's a mutual enemy of them both, because like it seems like the Black Ops guy just wants to do both. He wants to kill two birds with one stone. He wants to get help getting this device, and then he also still just probably even he probably for some reason wants to take out this Jason Statham character too.
Well, yeah, what he was saying is they brought, or the British special ops or whatever the hell they're called, I don't know. They brought Dwayne Shaw, which is Jason Statham's character, on.
Yeah.
And he said they thought of him as a necessary evil, like he was so good, but he was like unstable or something.
Yeah.
And then they decided to retire him by sending 6 other guys after him, basically to kill him. And they failed, and he became a ghost for the past however many years.
Yeah.
6 years or something.
One thing we should probably talk about is the Paul Walker being dead while they were making this movie.
Right. I was.
Did you pick out the scenes that he was not there? Like, did you pick out? There was tons of scenes I was looking at. I was like, "That's a CG face. That's a CG face. That's a CG face."
I didn't pick out too many of the. Like, I picked out the one at the end, which was pretty obvious.
Yeah,
in the car.
Honestly, they did a really good job.
But yeah, I didn't pick. I honestly didn't pick out any of them.
Here's one thing that I noticed
during the movie,
through the entire film, is that Paul Walker didn't do a lot of talking, and many of the lines that he was using, I'm 80% sure were lines from other movies. There was a few times when he was saying things I was like, oh wait, that just sounds like the same thing he said in a movie, in one of the other movies. Like, it's, I swear to God, I think they use samples from other films to create his voice.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't picking that out really.
And did you notice that a lot of the characters were talking for him? Like, Mia was explaining, there was a scene between Mia and Dom explaining Brian's thoughts and feelings. Then there was a scene between Dom and Brian where Dom was pretty much reiterating Brian's thoughts and feelings. and most of the time in all of those shots, there's so many scenes where Brian is just not saying anything for some odd reason. Like, they make him very quiet.
Yeah. You know what? Like, I hadn't really noticed that. I was thinking there were probably going to be parts where they were going to CG on his face because they've done it before.
Yeah.
With other things. But I was also kind of just waiting for them to kill him.
Me too. I was hoping he was going to die at the end, but maybe that would have just been a little disrespectful.
Yeah.
Because I think they were worried about that.
I was actually a lot happier with the way they handled it.
Yeah, he's going to live, but he's going to be a father. Like, that's the thing.
They're sort of like they're saying like things are going to be different now. This is where he needs to be. He's not. Yeah. He will not be involved in any of the other stuff that's going on.
What's sad for me with that is that almost means that Mia can't be in the next ones if she's going to be the mother too. Because like, if she's going to be part of that family, Mia's a great actress. Whoever's playing Mia is excellent, and I think that she can really deliver.
She may be, she's probably going to be written out of it.
And she's just one of the strongest characters, especially one of the strongest female characters in the series. And it's like her and Letty are like the two actresses that are just phenomenal. Like Letty is amazing. Like, especially with this terrible dialogue. Holy shit, she can deliver.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, she has some great scenes in this movie. That's one of my favorite things about this movie, is just watching Now, here's the thing. Even though this movie is completely cheeseball, corny bullshit, my favorite parts of this movie were the emotional scenes.
Yeah, I like them a lot too, but I don't know why. I just felt like a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them were cut a little short.
Okay. Like what about the Mia and Brian scene? The Mia and Brian goodbye scene? Holy fuck! I almost cried.
No, that was really good. I just felt like, I don't know, I can't point out any specific ones, but I felt like some of them just didn't have quite enough time to breathe properly.
Yeah, they were rushing it. But they're doing that through this whole series. Like, the 6th movie felt really rushed. Like also like they were kind of lacking in creativity with the telling of the story, because the sixth and seventh movie are very similar in the sense that there's a lot of standing and talking.
Yeah. I can actually give this one just a little bit of leeway just because they were dealing with the fact that Paul Walker had died.
Yeah, so they probably had trouble telling the story.
They were having trouble telling the story because they had to have other characters talk for
Right.
them, like you were saying.
Right.
I wasn't really noticing that at the
Yeah.
time.
But they did an amazing job with the face
They
replacement.
did a great job
That was
with
unbelievable.
it because
That
I
was
really
unbelievable.
didn't notice it a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Like I could tell if something was off in a lot of the scenes, and I could see that this is probably a CG face. But honestly, like it really looked way better than I expected. Like
I did notice that a lot of the final fight scene with the Ong Bak guy, I can't remember his name.
it was probably totally a different guy.
It was
Like-
it was a lot of shadows, and you could tell it was probably a body
Yeah,
double.
the final fight, you almost never see Paul Walker's face. I heard that like the person that they used for a lot of the face shots, and then they would digitally alter the face, was Paul Walker's brother, who I guess looks similar to him or something.
Okay,
And
so-
so that might be helped a lot.
Yeah, probably
Like-
instead of just having a body double and then
Yeah.
completely masking his face on.
Yeah, I heard that they used his brother as a body slash face double for like a lot of the shots. And you could tell there's just a lot of steering clear of showing Paul Walker in this movie.
Yeah,
Like it's just
there-
not
yeah.
a lot of him.
Mhm.
But they still managed to do certain things that were great. Like I love the part with his kid where the kid throws the car and he says cars don't fly, and then there's that, and then that ties into a later action
Cars don't
sequence.
fly, Dom. Cars don't
Cars
fly.
don't fly, dog. Cars don't fly. That was one of the best moments in the movie. Like
It was good.
here's the thing: the pacing really did have issues. Because they didn't do a good enough job of linking the scenes, linking the set
Yeah.
pieces. It was like, here's the first set piece, total stop, break, dead emotion right in the middle. Right when it stops, it's like stop and momentum ends, and then set up for the next set piece.
Yeah,
and then stop and momentum
lot-
ends.
And the setup for every set piece was
Yeah.
a lot of them driving up in cool cars and getting out to really cool music and walking in slow motion.
yeah, which I love, but I mean,
which is
still,
great. But yeah,
It's pretty clean. It's pretty like boring. It's not.
the thing that annoyed me when they went to Abu Dhabi
Yeah.
is they set up the scene by they all drive up in really cool cars, then get
Yeah.
out and walk in slow motion to badass music while there's hot girls walking around in bikinis.
Yeah.
Then they have the scene where the hacker girl who's hot,
Yeah.
of course, is playing in the ocean in a bikini, and they're going,
Yeah.
and then her friend comes up and he says, "Oh, I sold that thing that you sent me,"
Yeah.
and they go, "Oh shit, now we have to get it back,"
Right.
and then
Yeah, that was pretty lame setup.
and then
like-
oh,
like,
I have to get you into this prince's party so
Yeah.
you can get the thing from his car,
That was dumb. The whole. Here's yeah.
well, and then they're like, "Oh, can you get us into the party?" "Yeah, I can, but not dressed like that." Set up for the next scene is now they're walking badass to slow motion, badass to cool music, dressed in tuxedos.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're just get the clothes.
It's just like, here's the setup of the scene where they're walking in slow motion to cool music.
yeah.
Very short scene to set up the next part,
Yeah.
walking in slow motion to cool music, now
Yeah.
in tuxedos.
Yeah.
That was really boring to me.
Yeah. Well, the whole setup, the story setup, the excuse for why they have to be at this party was lame.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but once they're there, the scene rocks. Like,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
everything about it rocked.
Then it became sort of like a James Bond thing, except they fucked it up.
yeah. Well, it was great though. Yeah, except they fucked it up. Right, but it was perfect. It was.
But that's what
perfect
makes
fuck
it
up.
cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was like everything that happened there was great. The way that the joke, what's his name, the Joker guy, the guy,
Roman Pierce.
Roman Pierce.
Yeah.
Roman Pierce. The way he distracts everyone is hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's really good. The way the when they get to the car, the fact that they don't have some sort of like super jack system to jack the car up so they can look at the bottom of the car and try to get the device off of it. Like
yeah.
the fact that the car jack is Dom, like he just has to lift the car.
Yeah, Dom just lifts up the car.
Yeah.
And then Paul Walker gets underneath it and then comes back out You sure you got this?
Yeah, he's totally joking. He's totally like playing with them. I love it. Actually, here's the thing: Paul Walker's character Brian has become such a likable character.
I know, and that's what sucks about him not being in it.
Yeah.
He used to be my most hated character.
Yeah, and now
I used to hate him so
he's
much.
Awesome.
Now they can't have him anymore,
Yeah.
and that's what really fucking
And honestly,
sucks.
like he might have had some of his best scenes ever in this movie.
I know,
right? This was really a good moment for him. He became a better actor as the series went on.
Yeah,
and
at least the least you can say for it is at least he went out on a high note.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Mia,
the scene with him and Mia like saying goodbye before the final showdown at the end of the movie was, oh my god, that was great. It worked.
Yeah.
I mean,
honestly, they're extremely lucky that they shot the scenes that they did with him.
Yeah, because that must have been the real him in that scene.
I can't imagine.
That couldn't have been fake. But, I don't know. That was amazing. So it was good. It was like, okay, the first set piece is what? Well, there's always basically the first part of the movie is like basically them all. There's all this like setup with the characters. There's like a huge chunk of this film in the very beginning with almost no action, except for the fist fight between The Rock and Jason Statham.
Yeah.
And they're setting up a lot of things like Letty doesn't love Dom necessarily anymore and doesn't want to be part of the family anymore at the very beginning because she's just not the same person anymore.
Yeah, she's saying she needs to kind of go off and find herself because she doesn't remember anything.
So she goes off so Dom has to Letty has to go and Dom has to lose Letty right at the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. Jason Statham is taking out Foos. Like we don't even get to see the Han character, except right when he's dying again.
Yeah. But one thing I was really happy about is that they actually did bring back the actor that played Sean from Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, which was hilarious because you see him in Tokyo Drift and it's the footage from Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
And then very next scene, it's supposed to be minutes later. And he's like 10 years older.
Yeah. He looks like he's 30.
And he looks 10 years older.
And he does. They tried really hard to make him look the same.
Yeah.
But I was like, little things like you're looking at his arms and the skin. I don't know. It's just like
I could tell in the face
his skin just looks older.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
A person's.
Like he's literally 10 years older.
Yeah. One thing I was actually a little bit sad about is I don't even care if he looks 10 years older.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed that they didn't bring him into the family.
Yeah, me too. He could have been one of them.
I mean, he was 18 or 17 or 18, so like they didn't want to get him killed.
Well,
or whatever,
also, why in Tokyo were they racing all these cars that were 10 years old, or 10 years, too? Like basically, it's like the look of the cars don't even match, like the modern times. Like anyway, whatever. But like. So there was that. There's a whole bunch of setup, and then what was like the first big action thing that they were doing? Oh, right, that's right, jumping out of a goddamn airplane onto a freeway. That was teased in the trailer.
Yeah,
that was something I was expecting, and I was like, oh, I can't wait till Wes sees this because
actually, I went in a little bit more fresh than Patrick did because I didn't watch the trailer even.
Yeah,
I didn't even watch the trailer.
And this movie pays off if you have seen the trailer and you think it's showing all the best stuff. It's not. I mean, it kind of is, but I guess you get glimpses of the best moments. But there's a whole that's like really only the first half of the film is even shown with the trailer. Like
who's
like the second half and the whole climax at the end, we don't see any of that. In the trailer.
You know the bad guys.
Almost.
Okay, they get dropped onto that freeway and they're going after that caravan who has kidnapped the hacker.
Yeah.
Who made this thing called God's Eye.
Yeah.
God's Eye can hack into every single camera or microphone on the planet.
Yeah, so that's what this movie's about is God's Eye.
Any camera on a cell phone or whatever, and basically you can find anyone you want in seconds.
So like the person with the God's Eye has a huge advantage in hunting someone else down.
But I actually want to ask you, do you know the actor who plays the leader of the guys that have captured her?
No, I don't know his name. I don't know his name.
I know him though. I know his face.
Yeah, he's from Lost.
Okay.
He's in Lost, isn't he?
I thought so. And I also For some reason,
Isn't
I
he
thought
Mr. No, he's not Mr. What am I saying? That's terrible. He's not that guy. He is in Lost, I thought, though.
For some reason, I thought maybe he was in 24.
Oh, maybe he's in
also.
24. It's one of those shows that I really dig.
I know.
Like, he's one of those, like, God damn it. I don't know. Now I don't know anymore. I've seen him in so many things, and he's so familiar, but I don't remember who he is.
I'll try and.
I definitely
look on
remembered who
IMDb.
Kurt Russell was.
Yeah, but I recognized his face immediately, and I really
Yeah.
like that actor a lot.
Yeah, Kurt Russell was a good surprise. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved watching him. Man, how old is that guy? Okay, but basically,
I don't know. He's in
basically,
his 60s probably.
let's try to get through the plot just a little bit here. So the first big set piece is skydiving cars onto a fucking freeway so that they can onto a mountainous highway so that they can there's for some reason this mobile transport of the hacker girl
and-
that created the God's Eye.
And for
And
some reason,
they
the
have to-
only way in is from the air.
Right. Yeah. So they land perfectly after skydiving with their cars using parachutes. They land perfectly on this freeway.
Yes, somehow
And then-
they land. They all make it on the road.
Yeah, exactly. And it's maybe one of them goes a little bit off the road, just a tiny
Yeah,
bit.
but it's still-
like he's on the road in
like-
seconds. And then this bus or this caravan is like the most badass, souped up, like protected thing that they've ever had to do a heist against. Like it's got all these guns and shit that they have to dodge.
Yeah,
and like
I mean they handled a tank before.
Yeah.
but now there's this. It just looks like a big.
it's a big tour bus.
It just looks like a Winnebago.
Yeah,
But it's painted matte black.
yeah.
And it has a bunch of miniguns mounted in the storage areas.
Yeah, it's just a big
On the
bus.
side.
It's just a big travel bus.
Yeah.
But it's got tons of weapons on it. And anyway, so they have to go get this, and they have to go get this this woman who's being held captive there because she knows where the God's Eye is. So there's this big ass action sequence that's awesome with all those guys, and they're basically like Tony Jaa's on the bus. There's this amazing cool part where Paul Walker goes onto the bus, fucking takes out all of the SWAT guys that are on the bus, no problem, and then has to fight Tony Jaa hand to hand out
Yeah.
on this bus. And then in the middle of this fight, the bus driver gets shot or something, and the bus flips and is about to go off the cliff, and he has to run. He has to first try to get off the bus. Tony Jaa makes it he shuts some sort of door so that Paul Walker can't escape the bus out of the back. So what he does,
and this
is
has to be mentioned.
yeah. Well,
They're racing to the back to get
right.
out.
Yeah.
And Tony Jaa gets there first and slams the cage door on him and says, "Too slow."
Oh yeah, there's this too slow thing. Yeah, totally. That's a setup for an end thing, right? And so
Or not fast enough.
Right. Yeah, he says too slow, I think. And then the bus is going off the cliff. So while the bus is sliding slowly off the cliff, Paul Walker has to go to the front of the bus, which is not where he wants to be because that's the part that's off the cliff. Go down through a window that's on the bottom now because the bus is flipped on its side. So he's going out of a passenger side window on the bus. And then he has to climb over the bus onto the top of it. And while it's falling slowly off the cliff, he's running on the side of the bus just barely and not really even close enough to the edge to clutch the edge. And just luckily Letty slides her car, does this drift move that makes the back of her car go off the cliff just enough so Paul Walker so Brian's character can
Grab the spoiler.
grab the spoiler of Letty's car and get flung back onto land. And it's holy shit, that was awesome. That's exactly what I go to one of these movies to see. It's bullshit like that.
The funny thing is when it first started happening and when the very front of it was hanging off the cliff and it wasn't sliding off yet.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is like a Jurassic Park moment.
Yes. No, yeah, totally. There's a lot of moments in these movies that's very reminiscent of other movies. But yeah, that totally reminded me of The Lost World.
Yeah.
That's
the whole time I was thinking, oh, this is Jurassic Park.
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking, what was it? I was thinking video games. I was thinking Uncharted. There's a total Uncharted, Uncharted 2 starts with this type of thing.
Okay, that's something I haven't experienced.
So anyway, so there's that. So then they get the hacker finally. Oh my God, there's this race down and every one of these encounters, the Jason Statham character ends up being there trying to kill them and somehow fails.
He keeps popping up and somehow he figures out where they are and pops
So
up. And,
so meanwhile, like Jason Statham and Dom are rushing down the mountain. Like they're actually literally like skiing their cars down a fucking mountain with trees and shit everywhere. And you know, both their cars are like these super armored cars, and then there's these, you know, there's this other people that were holding this woman captive, and they're now bad guys too, and they're, you know, they kind of team up eventually with the Jason Statham character for the end. And anyway, so the girl, the hacker woman, like she ends up like telling them like where they like out, like this whole big action sequence is just to get her so that she can tell them where this device is. She tells them it's in Abu Dhabi. They go to get to the guy that she gave it to or something. The guy says he sold it. He says he sold it to this other guy that's like this big rich guy.
He's a
prince, right? And he's having a party, and it's up at the top of his special apartment, and he's having a party up there, and they have to be invited, and so they have to get dressed real nice, and they go invited, and you know, the device just happens to be hidden inside a car.
Yeah, well, what it is she hides it in some other sort of chip, which for some reason he wants to add to his car to make it faster. I don't know.
Yeah. So she hides it in this thing that ends up, basically it's an excuse to get this device inside a car that's this awesome fucking car that has like a top speed of like 240 miles an hour or something.
They were saying, there's only seven of these in the world, and he keeps it in a safe. I want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, so he keeps it at the top of this building. And this is important. It's 3 buildings, but it's basically okay. So here's the thing: there are these 3 like towers that are right next to each other, and they're at the top of this one, and they're breaking in James Bond style, Mission Impossible style, and you know, there's like, you know, Roman Pierce does his thing and like distracts everyone. Letty like kind of like starts a fist fight with this security lady, and all these security women. She's always like fighting. It's like, why do they always have like women just fighting other women? Like, I guess
I don't know, but that woman that she was fighting was more like a man.
Yeah, exactly.
She was pretty buff.
I recognized her. I don't know what from.
I wonder if she was a wrestler.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. She was buff. I was like,
she was really
she's
buff.
a wrestler. But like, she kind of reminded me of like China or something.
But the funny thing is that like they're both dressed in these really fancy, nice dresses and both wearing heels.
Yeah.
And they're having this incredible fight scene in heels.
Yeah. But anyway, it's still a badass fight scene.
No, I'm not saying it wasn't badass. It was made more kind of more badass that they were wearing these dresses and wearing heels.
Yeah. I was just thinking, my mind was on this whole thing where it's like, I was thinking, you know, why does it always have to be women fighting women? Why can't they do like Letty beating up some like guy or something like that, you know?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe they don't want to have a guy beating up on her also.
I guess, yeah. But whatever. Anyway, so there's that. And anyway, there's basically the cool thing about it is that this car that they are like having to do, basically look for this thing in, shit starts to go bad during this whole operation, and their cover is blown, and basically they don't have time to find the device on this car. So solution: drive the fucking car away. You know, even though it's on the top floor of this building, right?
Yeah, so it's on the top. It's in a penthouse apartment.
Yeah.
On the top of a skyscraper.
Yeah.
And
so basically,
into the party.
Yeah, like Dom stops lifting the car. Like they both get in while like Paul Walker looks at the bottom of it to try to search for it. They both get in the car, and then they just take the fuck off, and they drive right through the party. They keep driving, and they drive right out the fucking window of the building into the next building, and then they do it again because for some reason the brakes aren't fucking working, and Dom's like, no brakes.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know how the brakes broke or
but
whatever.
they just have to keep going. So they go and they jump out the window on the other side of the second building and into a third building.
Yeah, Jason Statham has showed up at this point with some big fucking gun.
Right, that's right. And they're
with
running away
with a BFG, a big fucking gun.
And that was the whole reason why they had to do the building jump, I guess, is because Dom was running away from him or something.
Yeah, and that's when Brian says, no, cars don't fly, Dom, cars don't fly.
Yeah.
Because he's heading towards the window.
So basically, they get away with the device.
The funny thing is, as like he drives the car out the window, and you can actually tell that they're not going to make the jump to the next building. Yeah. But then Jason Statham shoots the back of their car. Yeah. And it gives them a little extra boost.
Oh, that's right, it does. Huh? Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So then, blah blah blah. They have anyway. It's just an excuse to see the car jump from building to building, and that was pretty badass, that scene. Yeah. But also, yeah, it was neat. A lot of build up, a lot of stuff, a lot of good fist fights and stuff. There was that whole heist party scene was pretty badass. Anyway. So then build up to next portion. How does they use the God device, they find Jason Statham, but then Jason Statham has his friends.
He's just sitting there in the middle of some big warehouse eating a steak. Yeah, he just with a glass of wine.
He's just sitting his ass in the middle of a warehouse eating a fancy meal for some reason right when they get there to get him. Like all the so Black Ops guys like Kurt Russell and Dom and all the people are getting are zeroing in on him with the God's Eye, and he's just waiting for him eating this fancy meal, and he's got a grenade with him, and he's he's hiding it in a napkin, he's doing this dramatic reveal of this grenade because he's it looks like he's wiping his mouth with the napkin, and then all of a sudden,
and then the pin of a grenade comes out, in his mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
it was just to be more badass.
So then the people the people that they abducted, he says something about the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and then the people that they abducted the hacker from all of a sudden bust in, and a firefight ensues in this warehouse.
Well, yeah, because he wants Jason Statham wants them dead. Yeah. These guys want God's Eye. They have God's Eye, so he teams up with them.
Right. So then mission failed in killing Jason Statham, and basically they all have to run away. The Kurt Russell character has a dramatic death scene, or almost death scene. He doesn't actually die, but he has to be left somewhere, and Dom, it's almost like a death scene, and Dom has to leave him, and anyway, but he knows that he's gonna still survive. But so anyway, that's the end of the Kurt Russell thing, and then just now the bad guys have the God's Eye. Oh right, in this whole thing they got the God's Eye, and so now the bad guys have the God's Eye, and they're going to use this to now hunt the Dom, and when they don't even need to, because the guy was finding them perfectly easily before that. But but now, so yeah, then the whole setup for the end of the film is we're just gonna fucking wait for him to come get us in our own home turf in LA or whatever we are, wherever we are. Well, where should we go? We should just go home and we'll fight this on our home turf. And
I was actually just looking up the name of Kurt Russell's character. His character's name is Mr. Nobody.
Oh yeah,
which is great.
What is this guy's name? You just looked up this guy, the guy that is the leader of the...
I'm going to totally butcher his real name.
Yeah, I can't even say that.
I don't know.
Is it Jamon Honso? Jamon Honso? I don't know.
That's closer than I would have gotten, probably.
What else was he in?
He was born in Africa, so that's why I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah. What else was he in? Where?
Oh, he was in Gladiator.
Yeah.
He was the
he was the black gladiator in Gladiator.
Yeah.
He was also in Blood Diamond. I've never seen that.
I've seen that movie. I actually.
He was in The Island. He played kind of he was this. Yeah.
He was in Guardians of the Galaxy as the.
Oh yeah.
Shoot, which character was he?
He's always good.
He's one of the bad guys.
He's always excellent. He really is always excellent. I like him a lot.
He's got a great voice.
Yeah.
Especially for a bad guy.
So anyway, him and Jason Statham go find all the people in LA, and they're using this drone. It's basically like cars versus helicopter versus drone. There's this attack helicopter that this guy's in, and then they're launching this kind of
the reasoning that
flying.
The whole reason that these other guys that are just kind of tenuous friends with Jason Statham's character, or Dwayne Shaw, that's his character's name.
Yeah.
The whole reason they're showing up is because Mr. Nobody told them they're not going to stop hunting the hacker
Yeah.
until she's dead because they know that she can hack back into God's Eye and shut it down.
Okay. Well,
So they want her dead so that she can't do that.
oh, yeah, that's right.
So they decide, oh, well, we need to get within 2 miles of them to hack into it. So they want them closer so
Right.
that they can hack into God's Eye and get it
Right.
away from them.
Right. So they start using this drone. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's a cool action sequence that's like war. Literally, like it's like becomes like LA, like downtown LA becomes a war zone with this whole fight that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, The Rock is recovering from the fight that he had in the hospital. He's in the hospital, and then in this last scene, he's got a great moment where where he tells his little girl, and I bet the little girl character only exists so he can have this line, so that he can say, "Daddy's got to go to work." Also, The Rock has some of his best moments in this movie out of all the films, only because they make him even more The Rock. Like he actually does the fucking rock bottom in this movie.
I know that was hilarious.
Then
and not only does he do the rock bottom, but
Yeah.
he does the rock bottom and puts Jason Statham through a table.
yes,
when he
yes,
does it.
he rock bottoms Jason Statham to a table, and like he has several lines that are almost rock lines.
Uh-huh.
One of them, which I was begging him to finish it the way The Rock would have finished it, but he almost said it right, which was, "I'm gonna take that whatever it was. I'm gonna break your little fingers, like shine them up real." Like he almost
I'm gonna
said,
break your I'm gonna break that finger 6 different ways and
And
put
then-
it where the sun don't shine.
Yeah, exactly, and that's almost like what The Rock says about where he just says, "I'm gonna turn this sideways and shove it up your ass." Like,
Okay.
it's like that's the reoccurring thing. The Rock's always about taking things and shoving it up people's asses. So that's kind of the whole.
But turning it sideways first.
Yes, exactly. Makes
So
it
it's
less
more
comfortable.
It's more uncomfortable
Right,
that way.
And so that's kind of, but like, so he has that moment. There's another moment in this film I can't remember right now where he says another thing that's like what The Rock says. But I love the line, yeah, right at the end when he's gonna go like help the guys, he's gonna break his cast that he has on his arm with his bicep.
He just flexes.
Yeah.
And the cast breaks.
Yeah, and all of a sudden doesn't need to be in the hospital anymore. He's ready to go.
Yeah, he takes some pain pills or something.
Yeah, it
and
was
then
amazing.
leaves.
It was amazing. That was a great scene. Great scene. Daddy's got to go to work. Boom. Cast off. I'm ready.
Yeah, cast off pain pills. Let's go.
Yeah, there's a good montages in this film where people are getting ready. Jason Statham has got a good montage. Dom's got a good montage.
Yeah.
Oh my God. One of my favorite parts of this movie. Honestly, it really delivers at the end. The whole epicness of all the fighting, all the war, every explosions, the crazy shit at the end totally delivers for me at the end. Like that was great. The fight between the fist fight between the street fight, as they call it, between Dom and Jason Statham at the end on the top of a parking garage. Brilliant.
Mhm.
Like, especially when they start adding the epic like opera singer music. Like,
Yeah.
like, yes! It's like they're making fun of the Matrix movies. It's like
because when they were facing off and they were like jumping towards each other,
It was like as epic.
super
It was like
slow
as
motion
epic
like
and
that.
yeah, it was totally like epic and over the top, just like Neo versus Mr. Smith. Just like Neo versus what's his name, Mr.
Yes.
Agent Smith
Agent Smith
in the Matrix sequels. Like it was that badass and that cheesy. It was that cheesy. It was so ridiculous.
Mhm.
When the music kicked in, I was like, oh man, that's great. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And so they both have wrenches, like dual wrench, like these big ass wrenches for some reason that they both brought. And they're fucking like doing like a kung fu battle, like with these big ass metal objects.
Yeah, it was Dom had the giant wrenches
Yeah.
and Jason Statham had just like wrenched off a couple of pieces of twisted metal from his car.
Right. Yeah, because he can do that. But that was amazing. I love that Dom's go-to weapon is the wrench because it's like it's all in reference. It started with Fast Five where they started referencing it, where he was about to he was about to kill The Rock with the wrench.
Right.
Because it's reminiscent of his backstory which was that terrible scene from the first movie where he talks about how he almost killed that guy with a wrench, or because he beat him like almost to death with it. And so Dom's go-to weapon is the fucking wrench.
It's like if his character ever became a slasher villain,
yeah, he would just carry a wrench.
He would smash people's heads in with a wrench.
So he got they found the two biggest wrenches they could possibly find in existence, and he's using these two wrenches. And it's great. And it's like,
can you imagine Donald Pleasance coming up like reiterating a backstory for Dominic Toretto?
So yeah,
he's not human.
And then there's this awesome scene with the drifting where they have to, they're like passing the hacker girl like between cars and shit, and it's like, and they're trying to
they're avoiding the drone.
They're kind of trying to confuse their surveillance and their drone by moving the girl between the two cars, and she's having to jump between the cars and stuff, and it was amazing. That was some good stuff.
Because it was taking time for her to hack into their system, and then they knocked out.
That was pretty unbelievable stuff too. It was hilariously unrealistic, but it was awesome because of it. And she has to keep jumping, moving around and figuring out ways to hide, and they're trying to avoid this drone while she's hacking. And you know what? It's not even the hacking that gets the job done, because I love that eventually they're about to get killed by the drone. The drone's flying under an overpass, and what kills the drone is the fucking rock in just out of nowhere. He comes flying off the top of an overpass right where the drone
in an ambulance.
In an ambulance,
because he came from the hospital.
Yes, so he stole an ambulance from the hospital and found he found the right spot to be so that he can come flying off this overpass and just land right on top of the drone. It was great. That was great.
Yeah, and then he rips the minigun off of the drone
and starts using it.
Yes,
that was amazing. That was amazing. He starts using it.
It was totally some Terminator shit.
Yes, and he starts using it against the attack helicopter, and then it's the attack helicopter, and then the Dom has that part after the fucking attack helicopter tries to kill both of them by shooting at both of them and shooting at Dom and the Toretto guy and their fucking, or not Dom and the other guy, Dom and Jason Statham, and the parking garage starts to collapse, and Jason Statham gets killed by that, or almost killed by that, or it looks like he might be dead, but he's not. But then Dom has to escape the parking garage with his car while it's collapsing, and a perfect jump forms. And he grabs a bunch of grenades. I love that the Jason Statham character just has a bunch of grenades in his car.
He just always has a bag of grenades.
Yeah, it seems like he uses grenades a lot.
Yeah,
so
he likes explosives.
So he just has a supply. I love this scene where Dom realizes, hey, he's just got a bag of grenades there. And so Dom grabs the bag of grenades, runs to his car, gets in his car, starts driving through this collapsing parking structure, and a perfect ramp to the attack helicopter forms in the rubble, and he guns it and hits the attack helicopter with his car, but only grazes it, and then you realize that he attached the bag of grenades to the helicopter. The Rock sees the bag of grenades,
somehow sees it from down on the ground.
Yeah, takes out his fucking handgun, and just from down on the ground, takes off his handgun and just one shots this thing. He shoots it a couple times, but he gets the grenades, and the whole thing explodes.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think that you can make a grenade blow up by shooting it.
Yeah, whatever.
But
what if a bullet? Well, I mean, what if he shot one of the pins out?
Yeah, let's pretend that happened.
Yeah, whatever. Who gives a fuck? I don't think you can do a lot of the things in these movies.
No, but I'm just saying.
that was awesome. Honestly, talking, awesome. Going through this whole movie again, I was like, yes, it does have pacing issues, but man, all those moments really were fucking good. So many of those moments we were just talking about were good. I mean, this movie I really hope keeps going, and I hope the next one's called Fate, because I think that'd be hilarious. I don't know, just F8.
Oh, yeah.
F8. It's
one thing I actually wanted to mention is just a little line.
Yeah.
That Dom has, where he wants to blend he wants to Frankenstein a American muscle car with with like an armored vehicle.
Oh, right.
And Taj says, "You know that's gonna take away a lot of your speed, right?"
Yeah.
And he says, "It's not about being fast. It's not about just being fast anymore."
Yeah.
And I was just waiting for him to
Someone
say,
it's about being furious.
"It's about being furious."
yeah. But he didn't. He didn't say that.
Because the title of the movie is Furious 7.
Yeah.
So
He didn't say that. He should have said that, though. I did like the part where he gets to say there's a confrontation that they both have. Now, there's this reoccurring theme of the two facing off with their cars and just crashing into each other.
Mhm.
Like Dom and the Jason Statham character. Like there's a part early in the film where they're chasing each other, and then Dom's chasing the other guy, and then they end up just like turn towards each other down a street, and they just actually crash each other's cars into each other because
Yeah.
Dom is ready to sacrifice his life to kill that guy, and that guy's ready to sacrifice his life to kill Dom, I guess.
Well, he realizes that the other guy, that Jason
Oh, right,
Statham,
Jason Statham
has like
character.
a super reinforced frame or
yeah,
something.
yeah, to protect him, but Dom didn't.
Yeah.
And then they're like they both get out of the car surviving at the beginning of the film there, and Jason Statham just points a gun at him and says, "Hey, you thought this was gonna be a fist fight
Or a street fight.
a street fight?"
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden what saves Dom from being shot in the face is the Black Ops guys that appear out of nowhere. But basically then that sets up for the end scene where it is a street fight, and Dom has that great moment where he has the shotgun pointed at Jason Statham's character, and
Yeah. Well, the thing I like is he's driving his dad's old muscle car
Yeah.
from the first movie.
yeah,
And if you remember when he first drove it, when he takes off, the front end of the car always just lifts right
Yeah.
off the ground.
oh, that was great. That was
So-
great when the next time that they
He-
meet and they're on the top of the parking structure, they're facing off again, and they drive towards each other again, and what the Jason Statham character doesn't realize is that Dom can make his car go up like that.
Yeah,
And-
and that's he's getting past the reinforced frame
Exactly.
and just ripping the top off
Yeah,
the car.
that was great. And what was even better is that right after that moment, the shot of him taking his shotgun out and just pointing it down through the floor of the car
yeah.
was pretty badass. Like
Yeah.
that was awesome. I was like, oh, like that's totally gonna work. You're just gonna blow his head off right now. Like, but somehow Jason Statham gets missed and doesn't. But anyway, they're shooting at each other through the mangled wreck of their cars, and Jason Statham like runs out of bullets or something. And so basically when he gets out of the car, he doesn't have a gun ready. When Dom gets out of the car, he's got a reloaded shotgun ready. And Dom gets to say, "You thought this was going to be a street fight? And you're damn right it is."
Yeah.
and then
And he throws the gun away and
he
pulls out the wrench.
he shoots his last remaining like things, which is the dumbest thing to do at this point. But then he decides to have like a street fight with this guy that's like a fucking martial arts expert. But it doesn't matter because Dom is also, because he's in the movie, because he's like, they can make him do anything.
Yep.
So even though he has no military background, he has like no anything training. But he's been I love the moment, the line in that the Black Ops guy, the Kurt Russell character says, where he's like, "I looked at your file. It's very detailed and also really entertaining." Like it's like that's kind of like a nod to the whole like
Yeah.
ridiculousness of the series. Like
Oh,
like
there was also that great moment where they thought they were gonna get Dwayne Shaw,
yeah.
Jason Statham, and he's eating the steak or whatever with his wine.
Yeah.
And then like they get attacked by the other guys, and there's the gunfight and everything. And Kurt Russell gets to put on those cool sunglasses that have the night vision,
Yeah.
and just pull out these dual pistols and start offing guys left and right.
Yeah.
And then he gets shot in the chest.
And he
And
winks.
and it goes slow motion, and he turns around, looks at Dom, and winks. And
Like-
then he
Yeah.
gets shot in the back or something.
Yeah.
But
No,
that was
badass.
such a cool. I was like, "What the fuck is going on? Why is he doing that?"
Honestly, like these movies are still chock full of great moments.
Yeah.
They know how to do
It
it.
just
Like-
was
Like this movie is no disappointment. It's just a little lame on the pacing. I think the sixth movie is the same.
It was just like it was just like that really cool moment where the woman passes Brian in the sixth movie and she winks at him
Yeah.
in slow motion.
But honestly, that was an amazing moment for Kurt Russell's character to go out.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you thought he was going to die right there. He didn't, apparently. I like that he didn't die because it gives them the option to bring him back in the next one.
Yeah.
Like Like, but
as M.
yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like oh god, all of a sudden now at the end of this movie, they're fucking experienced Black Ops like special spies. You know,
Yeah.
I love how everyone knows how to do kung fu all of a sudden. Like there's no there's no pretense for anyone knowing how to do this stuff. You know how in the 6th movie they kind of almost were doing
like
kung fu,
like Han and Roman don't really
Yeah.
know.
but for some reason, Letty, total expert. Like
Yeah.
the way she incapacitates a guard, like was like unbelievable. Like
Yeah.
like
And even Taj, the hacker guy.
yeah.
the
He had a moment too where he's
electronics
doing
expert.
kung fu.
Yeah, he
That
had
was
he had a little
amazing.
moment where he just disarms this guy and knocks him out.
There was a cool moment in the theater where I wanted to clap with that guy that was clapping.
Oh yeah, the one guy clapped
Like, the
after
one-
that.
like, I could tell that he was enjoying the film the way we enjoy the film. Where it's like,
Yeah.
yes, it's so dumb. Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't help but laugh out loud at certain dumb action
Me
moments.
too, me
Because I
too.
loved it so much.
Exactly. This movie was really good. It did have a lot of standing and talking, but honestly, some of the standing and talking was awesome. Like, I mean, the fucking emotional parts. Oh my god, we should talk a little bit about that. We did with like Letty having before the 3rd act, before the whole showdown. Like, Brian thinks he's probably gonna die because of what's going on, and they all think they're probably gonna die because they're being hunted by these experts. Anyway, but he gets to call Mia, and who's in this like fortress like back in the Dominican Republic or something, because she has a kid and she has to protect the kid and stuff. And anyway, but basically so she's she's also pregnant with another kid and hasn't told Brian yet. And there's this amazing scene where they're just talking on the cell phones, and they're basically like just like saying goodbye, and she doesn't want him to say goodbye because she wants to believe that he's going to survive the whole thing.
Mhm.
And that was really emotional. Like, actually, the way they were both playing the part was really well done. And I think I should give credit to the guy that wrote that scene, because Chris Morgan, although we didn't get the same director from from the last 3 films,
Mhm.
that Justin Lin guy, he didn't
Yeah.
direct this one.
Mhm.
But Chris Morgan, the guy that wrote all of those films, wrote this one. And I
Okay.
really think that even though he relies a lot on movie cliche lines and a lot of like stereotypical cheesiness, somehow he gets it right when it matters.
Mhm.
Like the emotional moments with the characters work, and also the acting is just really good at some points. Like it's
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, that was one moment that I really was impressed with.
And I thought it was cool. We actually found out that Dom and Letty had gotten married at some point,
Yeah.
and nobody knew.
Yeah, that was a neat point too. And then her like finally coming clean to Dom at the
And
end that
you-
she had actually said she did remember everything. There's a moment at the
you
end where
find
Dom
out-
is about to die.
Well,
And-
you find out the significance of the cross finally is
Yeah.
they didn't have a wedding ring,
Yeah.
and they used the necklace as a ring.
Yeah, so they give more meaning to the cross than it even had to begin with.
Yeah,
But it always had the
because
significance.
at first you thought it was just like
Oh,
it was
just some-
probably a gift that he gave to her, and
Right,
it was special because
right.
of that.
But
or
now they
whatever.
made it more special. They keep adding things to the backstory that makes it even more interesting.
Mhm.
And like the scene where Dom was dying and Brian's trying to save him, like that was great.
Mhm.
Like it was so fucking stereotypical cheesy bullshit that you could expect what's gonna happen, but
Yeah,
still
and-
it worked.
It's at this point that you find out Letty back in Abu Dhabi in the elevator. She like all her memories came back to her in a rush.
Yeah,
at that
yeah.
point.
She has to confess to the dying Dom, like all this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I remember everything now.
I mean,
like
it was such
and,
a cliche moment because like
and that's the moment that makes
he's
him come
doing
back to
he's
life.
doing the
Yeah, Brian's trying to do him and
he's-
Letty are both
they're
doing CPR.
CPR on him.
Yeah, like and Brian's like yelling really emotionally at Letty, like yelling at her to keep breathing in his mouth.
Yeah.
And it's like that was amazing when Brian was doing that acting. I don't know if that was the real Paul Walker or not, but basically it's
I
like,
don't know. Yeah,
holy shit,
But-
that scene worked.
but what was I gonna say? It's the total cliche moment where it's like, let's abandon logic. No more CPR. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna sit here and tell him how much
Yeah.
I love him, and I remember these
Yeah.
moments together.
Another
and
Matrix
then he's gonna
reference.
go and wake up.
Yeah, another Matrix reference almost. Like that was a really powerful Matrix scene in the first Matrix
Yeah.
where it takes like
Where
a
where
confession to bring them back to life.
where
you know?
where love brings the person back to life instead
not
of
real
logical
things. Yeah.
medical
Yeah,
action.
Yeah, not yeah, exactly. Which I guess could happen theoretically, and like it's a metaphor. That's what I like about these types of movies is that it's not about being real. it's about being mythological, I don't know how to say it, but like a myth. Like the whole point is it's over the top. It's emphasizing things that are reminiscent of reality, but in ways that are way over the top and just like in a fantasy like kind of it's mythology. Like that's the way this type of story is. That's the best the best types of fantasy stories are the ones that can be over the top and fantastical and totally unrealistic and yet still somehow work on some subconscious level emotionally. Like because the characters feel real and what they're going through might be there is something that they're hinting at that is real about emotion or willpower being more important than like the physical reality, you know? And I actually feel like that's why it works emotionally, is because it ties into something. A scene like that ties into something. It cues something inside of us that feels more real, that feels believable, because we want to believe something like that. We want to believe that, and there is something. It hints at something that is almost real, like and that's what's more important. Like that's the thing that I can't stress enough is like people get so into things. Like there are so many filmmakers out there and storytellers out there that are focused on the wrong things. Like it's just this is a series that really gets it right. Chris Morgan is a good actor or a good writer. Like, hey, what he's doing is a good series. Like I really hope Chris Morgan keeps going because this guy's got it. And I would love to watch more cheesy movies by this guy. This guy's got it. He understands. You can tell he likes things like he likes movies like Rocky IV. He likes movies like like I mean I could see the montage scenes in this and I was like, oh yeah, this guy's seen Rocky IV. Like this guy's seen like, you know, this movie had a few good montages. And it's like I'm just thinking like he's seen these cheesy 80s action films and he loves them. And it's like he's using all of those stereotypical cliches that he gets from them. But like at the same time, he really knows how to tell an interesting story. At the same time, it's bullshit, but there's actually like some good stuff that keeps us hooked through it. Like, you know, like I don't know, it's like a comic book. It's like the reason why a stupid comic book story like Batman or Superman gets to you. It's like it's because of the real stuff underneath. You know, so.
Well, we should talk really quickly about the end part because that was really good.
The saying goodbye to Brian. Yeah. Brian doesn't die at the end, guys. I was thinking Brian might die at the end.
I was waiting for him to die at any point, actually.
Right. And because, I mean, the real actor died, they can't have him again.
Yeah, Paul Walker passed away.
Yeah, which is really sad.
Before they finished filming the movie. I
mean, he didn't do anything. I mean, I guess there's a few other films. We should look up what other films he's done, but it really seemed like he didn't do anything other than this series. And, like, honestly, he became an actor over the time of the series.
Yeah, it almost became a Leonardo DiCaprio transformation.
Yes, I mean, I won't say he's that brilliant.
He's definitely not that good, but he got so much better. But man,
did he get good?
He got
much honestly,
better.
like the emotional scenes with him in this movie where he's really doing it, like him and Mia, where he has to tell Mia that he loves her. Like, oh my god, that worked. Like all of a sudden, Brian's a real actor. I'm respecting him as an actor. In fact, you compare this to his performance in Too Fast, Too Furious. Holy shit! That's an Academy. There should be an Academy Award for growth. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because the Paul Walker from the first two films compared with the Paul Walker from Fast 5 on is like holy crap, this guy's made amazing strides. And actually Dom has also Vin Diesel has also Vin Diesel really shows more range in this film than he ever shows, and I like that he's got a very cool controlled thing. I guess in the first film he did show a lot of range and it was very much more natural, actually. He played a more natural, realistic guy in the first film. And by the time they get to Fast 5 and these films, it's more like the Riddick character, where it's like he's just a very cool, controlled performance, and he's very intentionally going a little over the top. But he really is projecting emotions, a lot of different emotions, but in a very cool, badass guy kind of way. You know, I'm impressed with what he's able to do. Like the scene at the beginning of the film where he has to talk with get briefed by the Rock character, and he's like, I have to get who did this, and like that scene, he shows actually a lot of range in that scene. I thought, I don't know. I like this movie a lot.
Yeah.
The more I talk about it, the more I like it.
Yeah, I'm liking it too. I actually almost don't want to talk about the very last scene in the movie.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk through it because it's like,
Yeah.
that's should definitely just be seen. It's just really nice.
Well, it's good that they handle it the way they handled it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Paul Walker's character gets to live,
Yeah.
and he has a reason.
It's
for
almost
why.
like,
I mean, can I say? I think we've already said it. Like the reason that he is not going to be in the next series, the excuse they come up with is that the next movies is that the reason they have to say goodbye to him. And there's a lot of saying goodbye to him at the end, like, and I like that it's kind of a real moment for everyone because at that point he probably was dead, and
definitely, yeah.
and because there's a lot of his CG face at the end, and
I think that whole scene where they're sitting on the beach together,
Yeah.
talking about him,
yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot of truth,
definitely.
emotional truth in that for them
Well,
because it's like
I sort of feel like they handled it the way they did is because,
but basically
they just want to know that, yeah, Paul Walker lives on.
yeah,
kind
the
of.
excuse they come up with for why we won't see the character again is that he's just going to be a father.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
and that sounds good. I like the idea of the character living and just not being back.
Yeah.
And you're talking about the montage, huh?
Yeah.
They did another montage at the end.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, let's not talk through it, but basically, it's a really nice.
Yeah,
tribute.
it's just a good little dedication to Paul
This
Walker.
movie is chock full of montages. There's montages all like up the butt, like
yeah.
like with like getting ready to go to battle montages, and then like
I almost wonder if they were just padding out a little bit, just because.
they're padding out so much in this movie.
Yeah, just because they
did-
had to cut
yeah.
a lot of scenes with Paul Walker.
But they did. Oh man, it pays off too. And we didn't even talk about the confrontation at the end with the. I mean, literally, it's like war in the streets at the end of this movie, which is so cool. It's like they really did actually make it more over the top than any of the other films.
Mhm.
So with the action sequences, so good. Although still, my favorite action sequence in the whole series, the safe heist in Fast Five.
Yeah,
I don't think
I still think Fast Five is probably the best so far.
Yeah,
But-
Fast Five is definitely the best film. Start with that film if you got to just see what this series is about. You could easily just start with Fast Five and go from there.
Yeah, probably.
But there is some backstory that's interesting. Like the first film is a totally decent film. The second film you can totally miss. The third film is a decent film too, but has no connection to the story almost. So you should totally see the third film, but it's not going to make anything make more sense.
Yeah.
The fourth film is good, but it's only a precursor to what's to come.
Mhm.
And that's Fast Five. This
Yeah,
whole series revolves around Fast Five. It's this amazing movie that's like,
I don't know. I feel like they should all be watched though. Honestly, just because
yeah,
it all just builds up
It does.
to the greatness that it becomes.
exactly. And that's the thing. That's why I love the series. That's why I have this weird love for the series. It's like
yeah.
it's this series that became something else along the way, and it's the greatest thing because of it. There's no other series that's like this. There's no other series in Hollywood that's like this. Like where it's not. There's been series where the movies get good as they go along, but there's never been series where it becomes something completely different. Like and it makes it better because of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not at all what the first film was.
Yeah, usually when something hits hard and a ton of sequels spawn from it, it's the first movie that's the best one.
Yeah.
And all the sequels after are just get worse and worse.
And there's movies like, Star Trek. There's series like Star Trek, and there's so many series where it's like the reason the series goes forever is because one of the sequels was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be one of those cases though. But I guess my point was that even in these series where it's like they do get good, they always end up somehow being the same thing as what the whole series was supposed to be from the first part.
Right.
Here, it starts out as a movie series about street racing and then becomes just this.
It evolves into like a James Bond
Yeah,
but
like
but
Mission,
it's like James Bond mixed with Die Hard.
it's like Mission Impossible. Not really James Bond. I would say like more like Mission Impossible. Like Fast Five is like Mission Impossible.
Yeah, you're
like
right.
like this one's like Mission Impossible. But it's so much more. It's like just every action cliche put into one thing. It's like let's just do a generic, over the top, big ass action thing with this all, and make it less about the street racing and more just about watching cars do awesome shit, plus a whole bunch of gunfights and fist fights, and like that's all it is.
One of the things I forgot to mention that I appreciate that they're doing actually is where it's like they're doing all this stuff that's like Mission Impossible,
Yeah,
but in the end there's always some unexpected thing that happens where everything gets fucked up,
yeah,
and they nothing ever goes smoothly.
yeah.
And that's actually kind of like where they've always mentioned, like, oh, where we shine is when we improvise.
Right. Everything
So-
always has to fuck up. The way the middle action sequence in this movie, the one with the jumping between the buildings fucked up, was brilliant.
Yeah.
Like that really was fun.
And it's like they've just realized nothing can go smoothly for these guys. They're the best because when things go wrong, they figure out
shine.
how to do it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, the way that LA was torn apart at the end was pretty over the top and awesome. I like it. I like the idea of them facing a drone. Like the whole idea is like cars on the ground versus drone.
Yeah.
Like that was pretty cool. And then The Rock just having to drive an ambulance into it to stop it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the next one. I really want to see it happen. Jason Statham's character survives. One thing we were really disappointed with was when we stayed to watch the post-credit sequence, which there always is in these movies, there was no post-credit sequence.
Yeah, I actually feel like I think that they probably purposely did that because I think they probably feel like taking a little hiatus.
Yeah.
And since Paul Walker passed, they want to take a little
I
hiatus.
hope it
and
doesn't
kinda just
take too
breathe a
long.
little
I
bit.
really hope it doesn't take too long because I love this series and I want it to keep going. And yes, I'm gonna miss Paul Walker, but goddamn, they got so many good characters they can still work with, and I just
Yeah. I just feel like they probably want to take a little hiatus and just take a breather and have their kind of mourning time because I he was like family, I'm sure, to them, to the actors.
Yeah.
That like they spent a lot of time together.
Yeah. The Fast and
So
the
they
Furious.
probably became friends.
I can't wait for
So
the Fast and the
it's-
Furious 8.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Because they set it up like basically like the main bad guy doesn't even get killed in this movie. He's just put in a super amazing prison, and they have a moment with The Rock where he's saying, where they're talking and The Rock, and he's saying to The Rock, like, you know, this prison can't hold me. Like,
Yeah. That was almost like the post-credit sequence right there.
yeah, exactly.
in a way.
Maybe that was, and then they decided to just put it in the regular film or something.
Mhm.
But okay, well, there we go. That's our podcast. I think we should probably end it
Yep.
there.
I think we're probably gonna do Better Luck Tomorrow.
Yeah,
next.
let's go take a look at Han because we didn't get to see any Han in this movie. What the fuck? So we have to watch some more Han.
Yeah.
Watch
So,
some more.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing Better Luck Tomorrow next.
Yeah, all right, there we go. Bam.
One last ride.
Get low when the whistle go.
Now we talking. Daddy's gotta go to work.